Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
That's Ryan Renner. I'm Phil Becerra. Thank you, KK, on Listen Up. Ryan, as we thank everyone for coming through on this beautiful game recap. Another win, Ryan, as we stay perfect on the 24-25 season. Tell me your biggest takeaways of this game. I cannot wait to hear it as the Huskies uh, beat the Crusaders, Ryan, 88-52. And look at that. Sarah Strong pours in 22 points for the Huskies. So a name other than Paige Beckers. I know that makes you smile, even though you have all the respect in the world for Paige. Tell me what you like and what you did not like about tonight.
Yeah, I think Sarah Strong was definitely the top performer in tonight's game. Not a whole lot of other bright spots, honestly, for UConn. I think Caitlin Chen had a pretty nice game as well. But before I start, a quick update on the top 25 rankings. Of course, UConn stays at number 2. Notre Dame falls all the way down to number 10. Maryland, Duke, and TCU all make big jumps into the top 10 at 7, 8, and 9. But there was a change tonight in the starting five for the first time this season. AZ Fudd replaced Ashlyn Shade in the starting five. Fudd now making her 28th career start for UConn. Kaylin Chen started out the scoring for us tonight, knocking down a three. But after that, UConn couldn't really get anything to fall at all. They weren't really taking bad shots, but Holy Cross played pretty good defense, and that was pretty much true for at least the first half for tonight. KK Arnold, Ashlyn Shade, Janelle Alfie all made their first appearances of the game after the first media timeout. And after just one play, Gino subbed out Ashlyn Shade for Ali Zabel. I think he didn't like the communication on the defensive side of things, but I think overall, I don't think Gino liked the way UConn came out tonight at all. It was a very, very slow start for UConn, and perhaps maybe it was the break that didn't really do them any good, losing some of the momentum that they did build from their winning streak. But despite the Huskies 29% shooting from the field in the first quarter and having a couple sloppy plays on both ends of the floor, UConn made the last two baskets of the quarter and were leading by 1 point. But you could tell at the start of the second there was a change of energy. I would love to know what Gino says in some of these huddles to get the team fired up because it always seems to work. Paige Beckers, Ali Zabel both knocked down back-to-back threes. Sarah Strong also started to get involved as she scored 8 straight points for UConn, including 2 3-pointers. And this is the kind of basketball that we're used to seeing, the fast-paced, high energy play. UConn got more open shots, and they finally started to make some of them. In the second half of the quarter, however, that changed completely. Holy Cross went on a run of their own. UConn failed to make shots, lost the momentum they had. UConn had a 6 point lead at halftime, but it didn't really feel like they should be winning. And I would love to have been a fly on the wall for Gino's halftime speech because I'm sure it wasn't very pretty. But the game tonight went kind of the opposite way that every other game has gone for the Huskies. Usually we're always talking about how UConn plays so good in the first half, and then in the second half they come out and play like a different team. Tonight it was the exact opposite. UConn couldn't get into any rhythm, didn't play with much intensity in the first half, and then in the second half they were diving for loose balls, getting a lot more steals, making smart passes, just being more aggressive overall. All those things that we're used to seeing from this team. So it was good to see them break out of that slump that they had and played UConn basketball in the second half. Huskies scored 24 points in the third, extended their lead to 18 points. Much of the same in the fourth, as at one point UConn went on a 20-0 run. But I think the best way to describe UConn's performance tonight was lackluster, and I think it proves that you can't take any team for granted. You can't take them lightly. It doesn't matter what their record is or what they're ranked. I hope UConn learn tonight they need to come out and play with the same intensity for every single game. And I'm a little nervous now for these upcoming games, but UConn needs to somehow find a way to play consistent basketball for all 4 quarters moving forward.
Well, they did a good job, Connecticut, that is holding Lindsey Berger to just 13 points. So I know how talented of a player that she is. A lot of talented players on this Holy Cross roster. But yeah, you're right. Huskies, the consistency there, that's been the story of the season, right, Ryan, is what you're telling me. The consistent play, all 4 quarters, right? And that's what it amounts to. And again, if you're not going to do that, at least hang around. And then it's just like any sport. It matters how you what? Not how you start, but
How you finish, yeah.
finish. All right. So, Ron, I'll go over to the trending posts and then we will get into comments. We appreciate everybody for coming through on the last video. Daniel Connolly, Ryan, he said much better in the second half by the Huskies, though an all around uninspiring performance. Strong had 22, Chan had 14, Beckers had 11. Brady had a career high six assists, and Chelly set a new high with 8 points. But then I'll scroll over here to Robin Lundberg. And the reason I'm reading you this, Ryan, is because it's kind of a different take as to what you gave me the other day. I want to see what you have to tell me. It will be interesting to see if Paige Becker's efficiency becomes her enemy against tougher competition. UConn is going to need her to take over some games. I mean, she's already took over plenty of games, in my opinion. Let's not just focus on this season. Let's focus on since she's been here.
Yeah, I think it's tough sometimes because, Paige is such an unselfish player and really everybody's pretty unselfish on this team. And I think that's been showcased throughout the season and even tonight as well. The passing and all the assists kind of is what set them apart from Holy Cross there in the second half, and they got their offense rolling. But tonight definitely wasn't Paige's night. She couldn't really get anything going. Scored a couple points there in the second half as the whole offense started to get rolling a little bit. But I definitely do agree. I mean, at some points in the game, as we get into these tougher opponents coming up, Paige definitely needs to take over at some points in the game, as she is obviously the leader of this team. And that's just her game sometimes. When she gets on a roll, she's really hard to stop when she starts seeing the ball go through the basket.
Jason D'Amico, we appreciate his support so much. I'm going to actually have to prove him wrong on this one. He said this one is going to be long-winded, so I don't expect you to give me a shout out. It's okay. Well, guess what? We are going to do it anyway, Ryan. Here we go. The rest of this season is going to depend on one X factor. He said Sarah Strong. Ooh, Ryan. What would Paige Beckers have been like as a player if she had to start her freshman year playing next to Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird? Some valid questions could be asked. Would Paige have been a starter? Would Paige have won Player of the Year? Would play next to singularities such as Tarazi and Bird have accelerated or stunned Paige's growth as a basketball player? This is exactly what Sarah Strong is going through right now. Paige Beckers is arguably the greatest female basketball player of her time and casts a very long shadow. Strong was just getting used to playing with her and was showing signs of coming into her own. Then comes AZ Fudd into the mix. It is clear that Fudd has no intention of just coming back a some kind of rehab princess tour. She is coming back with a vengeance, and you can tell she wants a championship. It is also very clear that she is already Paige's number one go-to player when a basket is needed. Thus, Sarah Strong now needs to figure out how to play with two number one overall picks on the same dance floor. There is going to be a period of flux between these three, and we might see a couple of losses in December. But once these three ladies figure out how to play off of each other, there is no one, and I mean no one, that is going to stop UConn. Peace.
Yeah, it's well, yeah, it's definitely gonna be tough, and it's a pretty good point I think Sarah Strong definitely found her groove tonight with AZ and Paige on the floor. So hopefully that continues through the whole season. I think for Sarah, it's really going to be about consistency for her throughout the whole season. You know, it's hard sometimes, obviously, for a freshman to find their play and their consistency throughout the whole season because everything's so new to them. But you know, Sarah Strong's done an unbelievable job. She continued that again tonight, scoring, leading the team with 22 points. The really bright spot for UConn tonight. I think AZ played pretty well again tonight. Had a couple nice drives to the basket. I think still kind of getting her feet under her. But hopefully she'll be a lot better for these upcoming games as well as she's possibly going to be inserted into the lineup now, into the starting five lineup for those games to come. But yeah, I mean when Paige, AZ, and Strong find their rhythm and that chemistry as we move forward into the season, it's definitely going to be hard for any opponent to stop that.
All right, we'll leave it off right there. We appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody that commented away. Comment on this video. Tell us what you think about this win against Holy Cross. Ryan, in Ryan's opinion, there's a lot of stuff to brush up and fix, right, Ryan? As you have back-to-back teams, ranked teams coming up. And I will see you on Thursdays. We have a huge weekend. Just look at the schedule and you know what I mean. Huge weekend. I can't wait. I believe it's national TV time finally this season. And I will see you Thursday morning, bright and early, for that last check in right here on Listen Up.